I had never encountered the paranormal until I babysat my friend's 5-year-old daughter. Before that night, I was the kind of person who always had an explanation for everything. Creaking floors meant old wood settling. Cold spots were bad insulation. Strange noises in the dark were usually pipes, wind, or your own brain playing tricks on you. I like scary stories, but I never believed them. That changed on a rainy Saturday in October. My friend Daniel and his wife, Marissa, asked if I could watch their daughter, Lily, for a few hours while they drove to Jacksonville for a family emergency. Her grandmother had been taken to the hospital, and they needed to leave fast. I'd known Daniel since high school, and Lily loved when I came over because I'd always bring snacks and let her beat me at Mario Kart. Just until we get back tonight, Daniel told me while throwing a bag into the trunk. She'll probably be asleep by 9. Marissa looked distracted, worried, but before getting in the car, she crouched beside Lily and said, "Remember, if you hear noises upstairs, stay in your room, okay?" Lily nodded like she had heard that before. I laughed a little. "What, you got raccoons up there?" Daniel and Marissa exchanged a quick look. "Old house," Daniel said. "It makes sounds." That should have been my first warning. Their house sat on the edge of town, an older 2-story place with a wraparound porch and tall oak trees that made everything feel darker once the sun started going down. Beautiful during the day, different at night. Still, the evening started normal. Lily and I ate pizza, watched cartoons, and built a crooked pillow fort in the living room. She was a sweet kid, quiet for 5, but funny in that accidental way little kids are. Around 8:30, I told her, "It's time to get ready for bed." She got very still. Not upset, just nervous. She looked towards the staircase. "Do I have to sleep upstairs?" I smiled. "That's usually where the bedrooms are, yeah?" She shook her head. "I don't like the lady up there." That made me pause. "What lady?" She said it like it was obvious. "The lady in the hallway." Kids have imaginary friends, I knew that. Still, something about how calmly she said it bothered me. "Is she scary?" Lily thought about it. "She doesn't look at me. She just walks to mommy and daddy's room. But sometimes she opens my door." I told myself not to react. "Have you told your parents?" She nodded. "Daddy says it's dreams." Of course he did. I figured maybe she'd had a nightmare once, and now it had become bedtime mythology. So I walked with her upstairs, trying to keep things light. The upstairs hallway was narrow, with an old hardwood floor and family photos lining the wall. The kind of hallway that naturally creaks under your feet. But when we reached Lily's room, her bedroom door was already open, wide open. I distinctly remember passing it earlier and seeing it shut. Lily stopped behind me. "She does that." I forced a smile on my face and pushed the door wider. "Well, maybe she's just bad at privacy." The joke was for me, not her. I checked the room. Empty. Closet shut. Window locked. Completely normal. I got her tucked in, turned on her nightlight, and sat beside her until she drifted off. She kept glancing at the hallway until her eyes finally closed. Before I left, she grabbed my sleeve. "If she opens the door, don't let her come in." I told her I wouldn't. I wish I'd kept that promise. Downstairs, I turned on the TV and tried not to think about the creepy hallway lady story. Rain tapped against the windows. The house made its usual old house noises. I answered a few texts from Daniel saying everything was great. He said they'd be late, of course. By 10:15, everything was quiet. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, slow, measured, back and forth across the hallway. I muted the TV. The footsteps stopped. I sat there listening, waiting for the obvious explanation. Lily getting up for water, maybe? Instead, I heard her bedroom door creak open. Then a soft thud, like something had been set down. I went upstairs. I told myself I was checking on Lily. That was all. The hallway felt colder than the rest of the house. Not freezing, but just enough to notice. Lily's door was wide open again. The nightlight cast that dim orange glow kids' rooms always have, making everything look strange. She was still asleep, but every stuffed animal she owned, every single one, had been taken off the shelf and placed in a perfect line across the floor facing her bed. I stood there staring. I knew those toys had been on the shelf. I'd seen them. I even checked the closet under the bed because apparently my brain still wanted a person to blame. Nothing. As I bent down to start putting the toys back, the closet door behind me clicked, then slowly opened. I froze. No draft, no open window, just that slow, steady movement until it stood halfway open. I shut it immediately, hard. I picked Lily up, still half asleep, and carried her downstairs. She wrapped her arms around my neck and whispered groggily, "She's mad." I asked why. "She wants me upstairs." That was enough for me. We stayed on the couch with every light in the living room on. I put on cartoons and pretended everything was fine while my heart was pounding like I had run a mile. Around midnight, Lily finally fell asleep again against my shoulder. That's when I heard it, the sound of the rocking chair. Daniel and Marissa had an old wooden rocking chair upstairs in the hallway near the bedroom. I noticed it earlier because it looked like something from a horror movie. Now I could hear it. Creak, pause. Creak, pause. Back and forth from directly above us. I stared at the ceiling. No way. No possible way. The rocking continued for maybe 30 seconds, then stopped. Silence. Then 3 loud knocks came from the ceiling above the living room. Lily woke up crying. That broke whatever stubborn part of me was still trying to be rational. I called Daniel immediately. The second he answered, I told him everything. Long silence. Then he said very quietly, "Don't go upstairs." That scared me more than anything. When they got home around 1:30, Daniel looked exhausted but not surprised. Marissa just held Lily like she'd expected this call eventually. After Lily was asleep again, Daniel finally told me the truth. The woman who owned the house before them had died there. She was older, lived alone after her husband had passed, and according to neighbors, she spent most of her final years sitting in that upstairs rocking chair, waiting for family who rarely visited. She died in the upstairs hallway after a fall, right near that chair. After they moved in, Lily started talking about the walking lady. Doors opening, toys moved, footsteps at night. They tried to ignore it, hoping it would stop. It hadn't. I asked why they stayed. Daniel gave the kind of laugh people make when there isn't really a funny answer. "We're working on it," he said. They sold the house 8 months later. I never babysat there again. I still don't know exactly what happened that night. Maybe there's an explanation I haven't thought of. Maybe old houses really do strange things. But I know what I saw. I know closet doors don't open themselves. I know stuffed animals don't line themselves up like an audience. And I know the sound of footsteps when no one else is upstairs. Even now, years later, when I hear a rocking chair creak in a quiet house, I think about that hallway.